Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So, Onision wants to sue VS.Repzion. That's right. So here recently, VS.Repzion did a video where he talked about some back and forth statements between Onision and one of his patrons, where he basically threatened the patron for not giving him money anymore, basically. And he shared his own opinions, thoughts, and opinions on it, along with screenshots of the actual conversation. And now, Onision wants to sue him over this video. And I'm going to tell you why he can't do that, or why he shouldn't do that, and how he would lose. So, Onision's wanting to sue him for defamation. He had sent him a cease and desist letter, which, by the way, this is, as far as I know, the second time he's done something like this. He also did this with a YouTuber named Joy Sparkles, and I guess Joy's still waiting for that to happen because it never did. And that's because Onision has absolutely no case. I'm guessing he's wanting to get him for defamation or libel, and he could try. That would be a very hard case to try to win. But there's many ways people like VS.Repzion or Joy Sparkles could fight something like that. With 1, the truth. 2, opinion. There's a difference between opinion and fact. And from what I've seen from, I'm going to stay on the VS.Repzion subject. From what I've seen from VS.Repzion, he makes sure you know what's fact and what's opinion. What's his opinion and what he's actually pulling from something Greg has actually said, or Greg has actually done. And he sort of showed proof for all of this. And you cannot sue someone for, well, you can do it, but you'll lose. People are allowed to have their opinions. And as long as you let people know what's fact and what's your opinion, then there's no case there. And the fact that there's also a big difference between, like, since VS.Repzion doesn't actually know Onision personally. For example, if a boss was to make inflammatory comments about Onision, a boss or a family member or something, he might have a case with defamation, because those people actually know him. But VS.Repzion doesn't actually know him, therefore everything that he's saying should be assumed to be opinion. So that would hurt any kind of case with Onision right off. Then there's something called the fair comment on a matter of public interest. And that's basically when somebody, some sort of public figure, like a mayor's having an affair, and you state your opinion on this. You're allowed to do that because they're a public figure. You're allowed to do that. And whether Onision likes it or not, he is a public figure. If you Google him, he has his own Wikipedia page. That right there shows he is a public figure. And there's also certain laws around public figures. There's 3 different kinds of public figures, actually, and people are allowed to say whatever they want about them. When it comes to a public figure, they actually have to prove something a little extra. They have to prove that there was true malice behind the comments that were made. And that's not just for, like, people like Onision, people that are YouTubers, or celebrities. This actually goes as far as, like, people in big public trials that's made a celebrity through being a part of a public trial. It also goes as far as people that are made a public figure for a short time. Like, at one point there was a woman that was offended by the show Married with Children, and because of this she was made the butt of many jokes. And though she was only in the public eye for a short time, there was absolutely nothing she could do about, like, people like Saturday Night Live or whatever making jokes about her, because she was in the public eye and she had put herself there. So, if you're in the public eye at all, you have a very hard time trying to prove a case like that. And then there's also a defense called lack of damages. And I know in the video, Onision tried to claim, well, I lost so many patrons because of your video. But the thing is, Repzion could argue lack of damages, even though he's saying that. And that's because public opinion matters. So all Repzion would have to do is argue that before he ever made this video, Onision had a bad reputation on the YouTube and public media platform. And since there's already such pages out there, like, there's one called, I believe it was Wikipedia Drama or Wiki Drama, that talks all about all the messed up stuff that Greg Onision has done. That would be a very easy case for Repzion to argue that that Onision Greg already had a bad reputation on the platform. And that right there is why Onision will probably never be able to ever sue anybody for libel or defamation. Because he has such a bad reputation and has for years. I mean, if you look into a lot of his about Onision things on different websites like wiki sites and such, it talks about how he's famous for this sort of thing. He's famous for these outrageous things that he says, like the things he says about Shane Dawson or PewDiePie or other YouTubers and world events and such. So that right there is why he will never, ever, ever, ever have a case against anybody. And it would actually not be too good of a thing for him to even do, because for one, he would have to file that lawsuit in the state that the video was made. So in the state where Repzion lives, it wouldn't fly for him to file it in his own state. And on top of it, these cases are so hard to win that it might pick up some media, it might, but when it's dropped, most of the time the media don't always talk about why it was dropped or why the person lost, and a lot of times they just assume that those comments that were made about them are true. So it could end up actually hurting his reputation even more. Although, in my opinion, he's doing plenty of that himself. I don't want him coming after me. I mean, he can if he want. He wouldn't have a case, because these are my opinions. Though, what I'm talking about with the law, that's actual fact. These are the laws and the defenses that you could use on these sort of cases. No, I'm not a lawyer. I'm very good at research. If you watch my other videos, I am very good at research. And after watching Repzion's video, I really wanted to know, if I was to come out and I was to say things about another YouTuber, could I be sued? So I looked into it, and I was able to find out, that, yeah, they could try to sue me, but it would not be in their best interest, and more than likely, I would win. That's what I'm finding out, because there are so many arguments that somebody can use, and as long as it's opinion, it doesn't really matter. You're going to lose your case if it's opinion. You have the right to your opinion. We have a free state here to report things. We have freedom of speech. So, yeah. And especially against public figures, it's very different if it's a private person. If I were to talk about someone, or Repzion was to talk about someone who was not in the public eye, then they could be sued. Like, when Onision made videos about his father-in-law, technically that father-in-law could have sued him. I don't know if he did or not, but he could have, because that person's not in the public eye, as far as I know. far as I know, he's not in a public eye. Or when he talked about people like Billy. And she may have had a case to sue him. I'm not really sure. I'm not a lawyer, but there's been several people I've seen him talk about in the past that aren't public figures. And yeah, those people could sue him and more than likely have a better case than he could ever have. Because he is a public figure. And he does have a bad reputation. And there would be no damages. The judge would see no damages because he already has a bad reputation. And he would have to prove malice. And he would have to prove that Repzion had lied in some way and stated it as a fact. So that would be a very hard case to file. From what I can tell, Repzion is completely in the right to make the videos that he made. And going back to the old videos of Joy Sparkle, she was completely in the right to make the videos she had made about him as well. As long as you're stating what's opinion, what's fact, and that, hey, you know, it can't be assumed that all this is fact because you know them, then yeah, you're good. Sorry, Greg, you can't do crap. So to anybody out there, now, in the past, or in the future, that he may have, or may in the future, send one of these fake cease and desist letters to, you're in the clear. And also just for React channels in general, there you go, it's lined out. Everything I just said. I would suggest looking up stuff like this so you know the legality of what you're doing. But either way, it really seems like you wouldn't have a case. Onision would not have a case. Sorry, Gregory. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to talk about in this video was the legality of Greg trying to sue Repzion. And from what I'm seeing, he would lose if he tried. And he would probably hurt his reputation even worse. So yeah, if you like this kind of content, give this video a thumbs up. If you like me, subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Peace.
Are you listening? Damn.